developments certainly give us an idea that agriculture is not a static, it is a dynamic in nature, given the reforms which have been carried out by the government. So what is the net effect of all these reforms is that there are two ways I can understand the net effects of these things are. One is that the market forces are influencing the agriculture sector, and agriculture sector is influenced by market forces, I can say. The second and more important is that because of this influence, there is a drastic reduction in the natural resources in terms of land degradation, water resource pollution, and erosion of property rights over a period of time, and also the increase in the cost of cultivation due to these reductions. So under this umbrella, under this paradigm, we need to understand what are the net effects of these market force-led economic policies. On the one hand, they have led already a transformation in agriculture. Maybe a quantitative transformation has been taken place in terms of increasing the productivity and production, but the qualitative transformation is one which is more important for understanding at this juncture because of the collapse or undermining of natural resources and its contribution to agriculture development. So this has created two issues now. One is that growing income or economic inequality throughout the world, not only in India, throughout the world, as you know that. There are so many economists who have been criticizing the policy of capitalism, globalization, because of its weaknesses, fundamental weaknesses in creating economic or income inequality in the world. The second and most important is that, as I already mentioned, the environmental degradation, which is imposing high social cost on the society, not only on the general society, but more importantly, those who have close to the farming, that is farmers. The farmers are, on the one hand, they are forced to use market inputs like fertilizers, pesticides, and mechanization. On the other hand, even they are forced to grow commercial crops. Just now, the registrar was mentioning after irrigation, implementation of technology in irrigation, the cropping pattern has drastically changed from growing food staples to food crops to the commercial crops. So this is how market forces are influenced. So it is not the government has its own policy like agroclimatic reasons, but still no farmer will follow the policy of the government in terms of growing particular crop in particular agroclimatic condition. But most of the time, the macroeconomic variables or market forces, they influence the adoption of cropping pattern, particular cropping pattern. So in this context, I would like to highlight how, because there are so many issues, so many sectors which influence the agriculture sector, so many reasons are there, different regions have different problems, different sectors have different problems. Agriculture is not a small sector, it has allied activities also. So therefore, I will focus on two important issues. One is how market forces are leading to transformation in the agriculture sector. And also, you know that even today, 60% of the people directly or indirectly, depending on agriculture sector, they are being influenced or they are being affected by the this transformation. So I would like to go to slide, and if we can open that slide. I would like to show some very interesting statistics with regard to agriculture transformation in India. So, if you understand the relationship between the natural resources and agriculture, agriculture is directly relying on natural resources. The natural resources including the land, the water, the climate, the weather, and also so many other micronutrients, or you call it as humus, that play an important role in the production and productivity of the agriculture crops. So in this regard, if you look at the Indian agriculture, which has been exhibited a high resilience during the COVID-19. This is the only sector which was robust during the COVID-19. So which supported millions of farmers, not only farmers, but also the inward migrated, that is back migrated people. They relied heavily on agriculture sector for their own survival during COVID-19. So therefore, we need to understand the agriculture sector even today, that is very important in the Indian context because of two reasons. One is that agriculture supports food security or provides food security. The second thing is that it provides continuous employment, even though there are disguised or other forms of unemployment, still agriculture is considered as one of the sector which is ensuring a sustainable employment opportunities for landless laborers. So even though the total food grain production in the country is estimated to be around 291.9 million tons, which is considered to be one of the success of green revolution in India, this shows that agriculture and rural livelihood are integral part of the Indian society, as even today about 60% of the population, they count their livelihood directly or indirectly from agriculture and rural employment. So agriculture fundamentally relies on nature, that is land, water, sunshine, rain, climate, whereas rural people depend on agriculture for their day-to-day life. So this is the what we call it as the close relationship between the rural people and agriculture. They cannot be separated. So agriculture transformation and rural development depends on how natural resources are being managed, how they are connected with rural livelihood needs, and how government programs support such schemes. So agriculture transformation can be understood by the way of understanding how agriculture development can be linked to rural livelihood needs or employment opportunities, and how the government programs or schemes are being evolved to promote both the transformation of agriculture that can be sustainable with the providing employment opportunity. But if you look at the two ministries they are working, one is that Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, and another department, Rural Development, they work separately. They don't, there are several lacunas in integrating their programs in bringing both the transformation in agriculture linked to rural development. This is the paradox we are facing in Indian context. So on the one hand, agriculture is facing increasing risks and uncertainties because of two reasons I told, that is market driven policies and natural resource degradation. The risks and uncertainties are increasing day by day. On the other hand, rural people continue to face hardships like hunger, poverty, and unemployment. As in the beginning, Dr. Siddharaj has mentioned, even though food security is there, even though food is provided through PDS system, but nutrients value of that food is not sufficient to empower the people in terms of good health. So the climate change can reduce agricultural income by 15 to 25% because of these market forces, and that as climate change has become reality nowadays, and it will influence the agriculture sector in India in terms of reduction in production, productivity. As a result, the farmer's income will come down by 15 to 25%. On the other hand, you might be aware that the present government, it wants to enhance the or double the farmer's income by 2022. The deadline was over. There was no mention of such things in the even recent budget. But we don't know the government vision for doubling of farmers' income, but it is a myth according to me. So this will affect millions of poor people, especially agricultural laborers. So they may be migrated to cities to seeking the livelihood opportunities. Already millions of people are migrating to the safer places where the climate change is less influential, less impactful, and also the climate change will not have any health issues like COVID-19. So in migration or out migration is the part and parcel of this the rural transformation, which has been influenced by market forces, which is taking place in recent time. So in this context, we need to understand all this. So therefore, I confine to only few issues, not confined to many issues, because there is no time available for all those issues. So already many sectors of the economy, many regions, millions of people are affected with the increasing number of cyclones, high precipitation, floods, severe droughts, forest fires, acute shortage of drinking water, destruction of social and economic infrastructure, which are common nowadays. Therefore, I told in the beginning that the risks and uncertainties, especially in the agriculture sector, is enormously increased for a period of time. So more extreme heat, recently you might have understood by the reading the newspapers, especially the North India is boiling. So for the last 131 years, the 2023 February month has witnessed highest temperature, average temperature in India. So this is going to be a serious issue for especially for the farmers. So more frequent droughts, faster sea level rise, and greater loss of species and ecosystems. So the climate change is not only in terms of rising temperature, most importantly, it absorbs the ground and surface water. So less and less per capita availability of water is the reality in coming days. Already the India is a water stress country. The per capita availability of water in India is that 1,495 cubic meter. So it is going to be further stressed. It will become more water scarce country in the coming year. So this will affect not only it absorbs more water, more importantly, it affects the soil quality, especially the chemical or biological contents of the soil, and which is being affected by the climate change with the heat. For example, the earthworms cannot survive at this level of heat around 42 and above. So as a result, the agriculture productivity will drastically fall. And as you know, that 60% of the Indian households still depend on agriculture, with the 82% of farmers are having small and marginal plots of land, and it is the only source of the income for them. So this will affect especially the socially disadvantaged community like SC, STs, OBCs, and others. So the rainfall pattern has already been changed. The summer season is extending. The rainy season has come down drastically, and sea level rise and submergence of coastal lands is common, and even storms like cyclones lead to several floods in India. Locusts, they come from other countries, and they are attacking the agriculture crops. So this trend spells a catastrophe for economic development and well-being of the people in India. Still, 48% of the people are poor in terms of multidimensional poverty index is concerned. You know that Oxford University has developed multidimensional poverty index, where poverty is assessed not only on the basis of income level, but most importantly, the access to basic resources like house, health, education, water, sanitation, electricity, etc. So in this way, if you count the poverty level in India, India stands first in terms of the acute poverty or absolute poverty is concerned. The next comes the Somalia and other countries. So the economic cost of climate change is estimated to be around 3 to 10% of the current GDP, and it is enormous. And especially India's 40% of poor, particularly vulnerable communities, continue to suffer the impact of climate change with their limited economic resilience. So in case of the rich countries, they can easily adapt to the climate change. They can go to other places and they can construct new house, buy new land and can they survive. But in case of weaker sections of the people, they cannot adapt to the climate change, or even they cannot migrate to safer places, given the income security. So the poverty reduction programs, what the governments are be implementing, they will become negative in terms of eradicating the poverty. It means that poverty will going to increase on the due to the reason of onslaught of natural disaster like Amphan and ash cyclone, which probably push millions of people in poverty line and further raise the income inequality. Next slide. So in this context, if you look at these issues, there are 4 major issues. Sustainability of agriculture production is the major issue in coming days, and providing financial assistance and input subsidies needs to be the another issue. Yes, you know that I will show you in the data. The capex, so the capital expenditure on agriculture sector has drastically come down by the public sector, especially the government. As a result, the investment on agriculture is coming down. As a result, the resilience of agriculture sector on the in the context of globalization is a big challenge. Then providing infrastructure, transport, storage, and processing is also a major issue in Indian agriculture, and even marketing facilities. So in between, what is more emerging issue is that even though Indian farmers, they grow food crops or commercial crops, they are purchased at a reasonable price, at a low price, and they are being purchased by the agents or traders. And the same farmers, if they want to buy back the foodstuff, the prices are even 50% very high. So on the one hand, the cost of cultivation is high, and the support price for their food crops is low. And when they buy food stuff for their survival from the market, it is very high. This is inflation, what you call it as food inflation, CPI index. So in this regard, one needs to understand the farmers are highly disadvantaged because of all these reasons. Natural resource degradation, there are no credit facilities. Even though credit facilities are there, they are not reaching at the right time. And third one is that there is no support price for every commodity. Only few commodities have support prices, and marketing is the major concern for the small and marginal farmers. And the another thing is that the cost of inputs is also very high. Look at the growth, agricultural growth in India in different phases. So pre-Green Revolution and between post-Green Revolution, between 1969 to 96, and post-liberalization and the period of recovery. So the agriculture sector, if you look at the growth performance year on year growth percent, the agriculture contribution to GDP has drastically come down. It stands now at 16.5% of the total GDP. It means that the income of the farmers has come down drastically. Our overall performance of the agriculture sector may not be up to the mark because of the other sectors has taken over. But if you look at the last period of recovery, the agriculture sector is somewhat the growth on an average is around 3 to 3 to 3.5 or 4%. So it may not increase to 5% or 6% in the coming days because of all these reasons. So there may be, therefore, I always question the idea of achieving $5 trillion economy, $5 trillion economy by the present government by 2025. These are the limiting factors to achieve all those. Next slide. So this is very interesting slide. You can observe it here. See, the record production is increasing. Of course, it has been increasing over a period of time because of the high doses of inputs used by the farmers. This is not due to the natural growth. This is interventional activities done by intervention by the farmers in terms of using high doses of fertilizers, pesticides, and other things. The record production has been increasing, especially if you notice this first slide 2A, the horticulture crops have been increasing in a almost vertically. Look at this horticulture growth, especially after 2001 onwards, that is contributing to India's agriculture growth, followed by the total food grains and by the rice and wheat. If you take other figure 2B, decomposition of production growth, look at the area during the period of 2000 to 2010, the area has come down drastically, whereas the yield. So in the first phase, the area has come down, the yield has increased. In the second part of the slide, second part of the figure, you look at the area has increased from around 46.6 to 59.9, but yield has come down. So what you think about this transformation is that because of all these changes, especially the degradation of natural resources, the yield has been drastically coming down, even though the area under cultivation has increased. So this clearly shows that climate change has a direct impact on the productivity growth of Indian agriculture. Next slide. So another important transformation which is taking place in Indian agriculture is that the allied activities, especially the fishing and aquaculture and livestock and forestry and logging, and these sectors are emerging, especially dairy, fishery, and the livestock production. These sectors are has been given highest importance in recent times by the farmers. As a result, their income somewhat has been compensated when the loss is taking place in terms of growth of food grains and other crops. So the farmers are also diversifying their agriculture crops, especially they are going for high valued agriculture crops like eggs, poultry, fish, horticulture crops, even floriculture, milk, and food. Food grain production is increased at a low level, but this 52.9 times it is the poultry production has increased. You might have seen the everywhere. Next. So as a result, the increasing share of allied products in overall agricultural export has also been increased. Nowadays, the export by Indian agriculture, Indian agriculture sector is comparatively less. Its share is very less. So even though exports are there, but the exports in terms of raw materials is more compared to finished products or value-added products. That is the major issue in Indian agriculture. And most of the time, these exports of natural material or natural goods of agriculture crops has been high rate of rejection by the European market as well as American market because of agricultural residue and also chemical residue or the fertilizer residue, pesticide. So therefore, even though India produces milk, the second highest in the world, but we are not exporting milk to other countries because it has lots of chemical and pesticide residue. So, the expansion, as a result, you look at this slide, next one, 5B, that shows that the agriculture export has been mainly concentrated in Asian and African countries rather than America and other countries. So their share has been coming down over a period of time. Next slide. So crop-wise productivity, especially some crops, productivity is increasing because of intervention. And but when compared to all other countries, the productivity even in India is very, very less. Next. But there is a rapid irrigation facilities, increase in area and irrigation facilities has been increased over a period of time. So but still the area unirrigated, it constitutes around 60 point something thousand hectares in India. So this is the main cause for agriculture transformation in some areas, some regions. Next slide. So if you look at this correlational relationship between climate change and productivity growth between Rabi and Kharif season. So the productivity is not highly affected during Kharif season, but it's certainly during Rabi season, the productivity is highly being affected. So this study has been carried out by Reserve Bank of India. So because of climate change, the productivity is going to be affected, as particularly during the slack season or the Rabi season. Next slide. As a result, you know that India is facing one of the serious problem in recent time is that the food inflation. So food inflation is also due to several macroeconomic interruptions or disruptions because of the Russian and Ukraine war, where the supply chain has been affected, especially for importing fossil fuels or oil, because we are depending more on imports of oil. But certainly, if you look at the per barrel, the oil rate per barrel, so still it is low, but it is administrative control of the fuel prices by the government of India, without passing on the price benefits to the customers or consumers, has resulted in this government created inflation, or it is what we call it as the government itself has not taken certain decisions which has led to energy-led the food inflation in India we are facing. So this food inflation has been affecting not only the common man, more importantly the farmers and rural people. So therefore, fuel and light that led to lots of inflation, 6.8, and transport and communication. So they are contributing due to the fuel consumption. Transportation sector, of course, depends on fuel consumption. That has led to 8.6. So this is how inflation is behaving in India that has been affecting every one of us. So as a result, this price volatility of major food items can be seen in recent times. Next slide. But as I mentioned in the beginning itself, the food processing in India is not given highest importance except in milk production. Milk nowadays excessively it is produced and it is not being imported. Nobody is there to import milk from the India. As a result, they are processing as milk and milk products like sweets and others. Otherwise, some of the products they are not being processed. As a result, the value is not being added, and as the same value has not been transferred back to the farmers. So if you look at the refusal of Indian exports of food products in USA, which is very high, rice production rejection, spice production over a period of time, oil products, tea, coffee, and herbal drinks, and dairy products and fruits and vegetables, food grains products, etc. So this is common. Indian products are almost neglected or what do you call it as uh, exports have been refused by many of these countries. Next slide. So as a result, one can understand one thing here is that the gross value addition by agriculture sector has been dwindling, and because of lack of investment, especially capex by the public sector investment has been drastically declined over a period of time, and private investment is also you see it is dwindling. After 2005 onwards, the private capital investment has also been reduced. So this gross capital uh, uh, is not taking place in case of agriculture sector. So the agriculture GCF has been low in India because of the lack of investment to the sector. Look at the composition of state capex in agriculture and allied sector. It has been coming up. In recent budget also, the allocation for two important sectors, agriculture and rural development, has come down drastically. When there is a criticism against the government on the allocation of fund for the Mahatma Gandhi Narega Employment Guarantees Act. So it has been allocated 69 crores on 69,000 crores, but the usage, if you look at other slides, next slide, the usage has been high. So as a result, this is the outcome of the Indian context. Next slide. The poverty is still high in many, especially multi-dimensional poverty. Next slide. So look at this slide, total central release for the Mahatma Gandhi Narega. It has been increasing over a period of time. Of course, it is reached to 1 lakh crore during COVID period, but it has been drastically reduced to 69,000 crores in recent budget. But if you look at the next slide, utilization. So utilization is very high for these funds. So even though the budgeted is less, but actual usage is very high in case of this Mahatma Gandhi, right? So therefore, the government is focusing more on industrial sector and service sector for capital expenditure, and it is vastly neglecting the agriculture sector for capital expenditure. So I take two challenges into account. One is India is facing frequent natural disaster and it will affect the food security. And sustainable use of natural resources for long-term productivity is the major challenge. It can also be linked to the farm income. Next slide. So therefore, the way forward is the following. One is that we need to develop climate resilient agriculture. So climate resilient agriculture is nothing but managing the land, managing the water, and managing the resources efficiently. So we need to grow crops which are climate resilient in nature, livestock also. That will help some extent the farmers. So it is high time that the rationale of climate resilient agriculture is valued and implemented more rigorously. Adoption of climate resilient agriculture practices can help reduce hunger and poverty in the face of climate change. Adoption of appropriate mitigation technologies such as the cultivation of tolerant breeds to overcome the climate stress, water and nutrient management for efficient productivity and resource utilization, agro advisories for timely crop monitoring, conservation agriculture practices to build soil organic carbon and to build congenial environment for plant growth, manure management. So climate resilient agriculture aims at using existing natural resources through crop and livestock production system to achieve long-term higher productivity and enhance farmer income. So in case of water management, India is a water scarce country, therefore the farmers should give much attention to save the water and enhance the productivity of agriculture crops by crop per drop of water. That is, water productivity is also more important. So as an expert in the ADB, we are analyzing the water productivity and economic productivity for enhancing the farmers' income. So some of the suggestion in this regard is that the various technologies based on precision estimation of crop water needs, groundwater recharge techniques, adoption of scientific water conservation methods, altering the fertilizer and the irrigation schedules, cultivating less water requiring varieties, adjusting the planting dates according to the climate conditions, irrigating scheduling, and adopting zero tillage, which may help farmers to reach satisfactory crop yields even in deficient rainfall and warmer years. So other including other technology can adopt, including water smart technologies like a furrow irrigated raised bed, micro irrigation, rainwater harvesting structure, cover crop method, greenhouse growing crops within greenhouses, laser land leveling, reuse wastewater, deficit irrigation, drainage management. So the above technology can support farmers to decrease the effect of variations of climate. So this soil conservation is also very important because soil humus or organic carbon plays an important role in agriculture productivity. Soil conservation practices such as contour farming and nutrient recharge strategies can refill soil organic matter by giving a protective soil cover. So integrated nutrient management helps in application of organic and inorganic fertilizers in addition to farm-aid manure, vermicompost, leguminous in rotation, and crop residue for sustaining soil health for the long term. So feeding the soil, the crop without organic input is the key point for the long-term sustainability of Indian agriculture. So this is how the farmers need to adapt to the climatic conditions, and they need to bring drastic changes in their cropping pattern, and their crop variety has to be changed, and the irrigation management has to be changed, and the way they understand irrigation from the traditional perspective, that is becoming the day of the farming nowadays. So people are moving towards organic farming or natural farming. That will help in the coming days. Somehow they sustain, they can also keep good health of the soil as well as the human beings' health. So this is how we need to transform ourselves in our thinking to quantitative, rather we have to give more importance to qualitative development rather than quantitative development in our approach to human values or human existence. And at the same time, we have to respect nature, which because of it we are surviving every day. So I stop here, and I thank the organizers for giving this great opportunity to share some of my views. Thank you one and all for a patient hearing.
Thank you, sir. I request Mr. Gangadhar Amar to felicitate Mr. Krishna Raj.
This is Professor Ramesh from Department of Studies in Law.
Studies in
Law.
law. Okay. Yes.
You have categorically made a point that there is no coordination between the two departments. I think, and also beyond this, there is no coordination amongst these department along with the environmental department.
Yes, that is true.
Because one important aspect is that all the 6 states several states. Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Pondicherry, and then Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and Goa, and also the central government have declined to accept the report submitted by Kasturi Rangan at the Garden. That was not actually because, see, soil protection and water protection is depending upon the how best we are going to protect the environment and the forest. I think this should have been actually one of the some aspects.
Yeah, I totally agree. I missed that point because I'm a forest man. I did my PhD on forest, and I also guide, advise the central and state pollution control boards.
Yes.
Even I train them. So that is the missing point. I completely endorse your point. Yes,
It is just observation.
yes, dear. So sometimes too many areas may not lead to this one, but I usually refer to Western Ghats.
Arctic report has very clearly come out with a sensitive area and a more sensitive.
Yes, yes.
And it has been completely ignored by the state government as well
That's
as.
what I'm saying. There is a politics in it.
Yeah,
Yeah, we are doing one study on that. Yes,
but our future generations will be the responsibilities of these declarations.
correct.
And this is that's only the observation.
Yeah, excellent observation. I endorse your point completely. So without the Western Ghats, we can't think of surviving in the plains. Even in the Western Ghats also. Because nowadays I am doing one research on sustainable tourism in Kodagu district. The mushrooming of the homestays. So reckless use of resources there. So that is going to affect the flora and fauna in the Kodagu or elsewhere. So
No, proper guidance of an issue by the state government.
yes, yes, yes,
And to regulate the home states.
yes,
The only thing is that they need to make a comment.
yes,
To make a comment, they say that we are all against it.
correct, correct.
And this tendency should go out.
I have been vehemently criticizing the governments for this type of practices they have developed over a period of time. Even they are regularizing the enclosed forest. And even they are not giving forest, land to the tribals. So,
Yes.
Professor Gangadhar has been working on that area, is the expert on that, he knows well. This is how the paradox is that this is the lobby which is working in the government. Therefore, I don't even call government as government because there are private parties to gain out of the what you call it as the power struggle. So they are the private parties. If you look at every minister, they have their own business and entrepreneurs. So how do you call them as our leaders? They are not leaders, our leaders. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. I request Professor Gangadhar Amar to felicitate Professor Krishna Raj. Thank you, sir. I now request Professor Gangadhar Amar, Chairperson, Department of Studies in Anthropology, host vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure and my earnest duty to extend a vote of thanks to one and all on this occasion. This event is a collaborative effort, a joint venture of Center for Study of Social Exclusion and Inclusion Policy and Department of Studies in Anthropology, University of Mysore. As you know, organizing any academic program is generally the result of a teamwork of individuals and close cooperation among several institutions and presence of participants and resource personnel. It is my pleasant duty to offer a very sincere vote of thanks to Professor Muzaffar Asadi, Honorable Vice Chancellor, University of Mysore, for inaugurating and also the support and encouragement provided by him to conduct this two-day national seminar. On behalf of Center for Study of Social Exclusion and Inclusive Policy and Department of Anthropology, University of Mysore, and on my personal behalf, I extend my sincere thanks to Professor Asadi sir. I extend my heartfelt thanks to our chief guest, Professor Krishna Raj, Center for Economic Studies and Policy, Institute of Social and Economic Change, Bangalore, for delivering an excellent keynote address. On behalf of Center for Study of Social Exclusion and Inclusive Policy and Department of Anthropology, University of Mysore, and on my personal behalf, I extend my sincere thanks to you, sir. I wish to express my earnest thanks to Srimati V.R. Shailaja, Registrar, University of Mysore, Mysore. She is so kind enough to accept our invitation to preside in this inaugural function, even in her busy schedule. On behalf of Center for Study of Social Exclusion and Inclusive Policy and Department of Anthropology, University of Mysore, and on my personal behalf, I extend my sincere thanks to Madam. I would like to thank ICSR Delhi for collaborating with us in organizing this two-day national seminar. On behalf of the Center for Social Exclusion and Inclusive Policy and Department of Anthropology of Mysore, I extend my sincere thanks to all the staff members of ICSR Delhi. And we have been fortunate to have many professors and faculty members from various sister departments of University of Mysore, faculty members from Karnataka State Open University, and other research institutes. A galaxy of social scientists is being with us. I personally thank each one of you for their participation. My special thanks to Professor Ramesh, former Director, Center for Social Exclusion and Inclusive Policy, for gracing this occasion. I extend my heartfelt thanks to all the participants from various universities and research institutes, research scholars, postdoctoral fellows, students, and non-teaching staff members of University of Mysore for accepting our invitation and joining us. I personally thank Mr. Pawan Kumar, guest faculty in Human Development, for his excellent comparing the whole program. At last but not least, I would like to say thanks to all the media personnel who have come here to cover the event. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. I request everyone to join us for tea, and after tea, technical sessions in main auditorium and seminar hall begins simultaneously. Kindly go to the program schedule and make yourself available at the respective rooms. Kindly note that the attendance will be taken at every session. Visitors are requested to limit their presentation to 5 to 7 slides, and chairpersons are requested to assure compliance. Thank you.
Thanks, thanks for being with us and thanks for your time, and let me make a small announcement in this regard. Due to technical reasons and other things, we are going to request the presenters, those who have been scheduled after the lunch session. So you please contact me so that they are planning to prepone their presentation to the post the session. Especially, I would like to follow